Good morning. Lulu wants to dance all night. Colin and his 2-year-old want to sleep all night. And Jeremy wants to turn an honest penny. On Kilroy today, we ask, Acid House, why stop the party? Lulu, what happens at these Acid House parties?
A lot of dancing, a lot of fun, innocent fun, not rebellious fun.
Give me some idea of the atmosphere. Are they good things to be at?
They're fantastic things to be at. There's a very positive energy there. The emphasis is on energy, camaraderie, adventure.
How many have you been to?
Several, I can't count for you.
And they're different from other parties, are they?
They're extremely different.
In what way?
Because they're cross-culture, cross-class, there's no antagonism, no hostility, there's no real codes. I mean, there's a real feeling of unity at these parties. People come together and enjoy themselves together.
That's interesting. Cross-culture, cross-classes, there's no feeling of conflict. Why? What's so special that they create that kind of unity or consensus? What is it about them? What is it about them, Gregory, that does that? What's special about the parties?
There's something with the music that just makes you want to do what you want to do. You know, you don't have to conform to anything. There's no way of dancing. There's no formal dress or anything. You just go and you're happy for 8, 9 hours. You know, it's just an excellent place to be.
Are they good things to be at? Are they? I mean, this sounds kind of ideal. I've got a real problems with our fellas. These big grown lads on welfare milk with long legs. Are they really good to be at?
Well, yes, because like you get a chance to like be yourself and express yourself.
What's being yourself mean?
Not going on stuck up.
But you can do that without going to an acid house party.
No, but like at these parties, as that guy said before, there is a unity.
With Gregory.
Right now, the unity spreads between like multinational, black, white. Normally, like if you turn back the clocks to prejudice.
Why
now,
do
prejudice.
parties have to be
Barbara?
organised secretly? Why can they not be held openly
They're
so
not
everybody
secretly.
knows that they're going to be held in that?
The reason.
Because they know perfectly well that the villagers wouldn't like it, don't they?
No. The reason why there's a secrecy surrounding the address, right, is because one, you get like the cowboys, right, other organisations that will phone up the police and say that I know John, he's going to.
Residents?
Right. No. He'll phone up the police, say John's going to have an acid party down the road. There's going to be loads of drugs there. The police go there and like bust a perfectly innocent party.
Well, the one that was held at Rootham, the house is down adjacent to the field. The people all had to get into one house because they were so frightened. Their gardens were full of youths climbing over the wall,
There's a lot more to it.
urinating, and the place still smells like a latrine.
There's nothing to be frightened on whatsoever. People are just trying to have fun. There's children
What's
19
having
years
fun?
old.
On that first, I'm
Having
going to come
fun
back to
is
Barbara's
dancing.
point, a very important one. What I want to know first, I want to know what these parties are about. I want a flavour of them. Why they're so special? Why they're so different, Sean? What is? I mean, is it? We've got an ideology here.
I think an ideology has grown. I think what it was, everyone going out in London, going nightclubbing, that number has grown massively, and everyone was really tired of the sort of designer ethos of the 80s, where it counted what you wore. You know, it helped if you were in styling or the media, and that got really boring. And then all of a sudden, last year, all of a sudden this thing exploded where, one, at first, it didn't matter what you wore, it didn't matter who you were talking to, and it was just dancing all night, and everyone got together, like everyone has said, and it was fresh. And the fact that it's grown so massively means there is something there. It's not just another fashion or another trend.
But it is special, is it? This thing about the kind of music, the culture, the
I think there's what
classlessness.
happens. Certain things came together. I mean, rather like any youth cult, which needs many factors. You had the music initially from America. You had this atmosphere which was taken from Ibiza at first, which was very much a sort of holiday party atmosphere. And then this was sort of sieved through the London culture, which was, right, we've taken these things together, we're going to make it ours. And for the first time, I think, really since, you know, punk, it was like, we don't care what's happening, we just want to have a good time. And it is
Let's
the first
see what that good
multiracial-
time is actually like. I'm going to show, so our viewers have an idea of it. Let's show you some film, which actually will give a flavour of the kind of thing that you young people are talking about.
Not loud enough.
Barbara, you were complaining that's not loud enough.
I would like to hear it as the actual sound, because it's horrific. I went to bed and I knew that it was happening, and I thought it was going to be like a disco, and I'm old, I'm 72, and I find discos a bit loud for me, but I went to bed and I went to sleep and I thought I'd have a bad night and I wouldn't enjoy it. But I fell out of bed in horror, this sound.
Where were you? Who was shouting?
Awful sound.
Who shouted?
I did.
What happens to the
Hang on,
animals,
Barbara, did you
the
hear what he
babies,
said?
the dogs,
Barbara,
the horses?
Barbara.
Didn't you go to discos when you were younger?
Yes, many times. Even now I go to them. The cricket dancers are disco.
The music's not
I've
soft.
Been to them
Children
with
just
3
trying to play.
bands. I don't like them, but when I have to go, I go.
Go on.
We're just trying to have a good time. This weekend is for fun. It's not to study. It's not... You study, you have your time.
That's fine. We don't mind that.
People like yourself. That's super for people like yourself who do what you do during the week, but you don't do shift work like I do.
I'm at college.
Let him finish.
Just
Hang on.
let me finish for a second.
Colin.
Now, I work at Gatwick Airport, and I do shifts 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. I work the time of day and the time of night when you're asleep or not doing anything. I was at work at 7 o'clock the following day after the acid house party down the road from me. Apart from the fact, A, I couldn't sleep, B, my little lad upstairs was frightened stupid, and for 2 nights afterwards he couldn't sleep. And C, when I got to work the following day, it was a waste of time me going there. I was paid by the government for virtually being useless at work.
How many times have you been woken up in your lifetime by acid house parties?
Exactly.
Once, and that's once too often. I don't mind if...
You can't say that. For once,
got to live with
that's
that.
one unfortunate night. You cannot stop thousands of thousands
great,
of
you talk about
acid house
energy.
people.
Hang on. What did
Lulu
you say? What did you call him? What did you call him?
You're a miserable devil, right? You can see it within you, right? Listen, listen. Look how old you are.
Hang on. He's a guest of mine. I'm not having him called a miserable. He doesn't look a bit like a miserable devil.
I've been to pop concerts where the Who have been there, the King, status quo, Dire Straits.
Let Sandy finish,
The
Colin.
terms that I'm using, right, goes for his character, right? Now, you
Hang on. You can't all hear everybody at once. Honest, our kid. I wish you could. Come on, Sandy.
Now, okay, you must be, say, 35 up, right? Now, you was young once, right? Now, when you was young once, now, you partied, you done what you wanted to do.
Not to this
but why
noise.
can't, listen, why can't, in your time, they were playing war games, darling. Now...
Yes, it sounded just like a bomb, these noises.
Well,
It sounded like bombs.
I suppose the games we play got people like you.
Listen, right? No, the games that...
Hang on, man.
That shows you the call for them.
Hang on. I can't get you all at once. It's no good you all shouting. What are you going to say? Go on, Sandy. Hang on, Sandy. Barbara, love. Hold on, Barbara. Barbara. You're making more noise than the acid house parties, Barbara.
I was going to say that rather than dwelling on personal battles, we should talk about the licensing laws, which are the crux of this whole matter. Britain's licensing laws are anarchic and ridiculous. I work as a DJ. I play in all the countries of Europe. There, the clubs stay open until 7, 8 in the morning.
But whatever you want to talk about, people calling Barbara, who are representing hundreds of thousands of other people like them, aren't killjoys. They aren't miserable devils. They look to be perfectly ordinary people who partied, but have some strong feeling about the disruption of their lives caused by acid. Why is it only acid house parties that are doing it?
Ever had a party indoors that have kept their next door neighbours away?
Yes, but it only keeps one next door neighbour away.
It's one-off thing. It's not each
That's
week.
one. What you're doing...
Let him answer.
Hold it. What you're doing is not keeping one next door neighbour away, because at the very least, what you could do with the next door neighbour is at least invite him in. Your idea of an acid house party...
Let's say you had a party for 15,000 people in a field, OK? And you were the next door neighbour and you were disturbed, OK? But let's say... wait. Let's say those 15,000 people were all at home. They couldn't go to the party because it was banned. So they sat at home with their hi-fi on, disturbing all their next-door neighbours all over the place. So it's the same. It's only because, you know, they can't go to the police and say, look, the person next door is playing his hi-fi too loud.
But, Jeremy, when you organise parties, you're an organiser, along with Tony, who's alongside you, don't you ever take into account the sensibilities,
when I look for a venue,
like
when Tony looks for a venue, we say to anyone who's looking for us, the most important thing is make sure there isn't a house anywhere near it.
We've had 3 of these parties in 3 weeks up where we live. We were disturbed every time. We got neurotic eventually, waiting for these blessed things to happen.
But
the kids were frightened. We had people up in our garden, even right through to the next Sunday afternoon, totally spaced out. They didn't know where they were, what they were doing, and they were asking me how they were going to get home. Where was London, I was asked by one of them. She didn't know where she was or what time of day it was. We saw some of them dossed out in their car. They were totally out of it, totally spaced out. Sorry,
we don't want to disturb you, we don't want to upset you.
Well,
We're
you
peaceful,
are.
fun-loving
You're
people. We have
making our
nowhere.
whole
There is
weekends
nowhere
and
for
our
us
whole
to
lives of
party.
misery.
Our clubs, in London, you cannot party after 2:30, 3 a.m. You go to Europe, you can dance all night. It's there, the facility is there. There's no facility in this country
Hang
for us
on.
to party.
Good grief, this is worse than an acid house party. What were you saying to? What were you shouting at Lulu?
I was suggesting that the whole operation is really a big business thing, and somebody is making a vast amount of cash.
Look, I'm a consumer and I'm enjoying it.
What is wrong with that?
I'm a consumer. I'm enjoying it. I don't mind people like Tony and Jeremy making money. They're giving me a good weekend. They're giving me a good night out.
Yeah.
Can I bring up a
You want? I'm sorry.
that is-
Okay, go on, Peter.
The seriousness of this situation is from the access from the emergency services, the police force and everything else. I live on the A227.
Yeah, hang on.
I live on the
she's saying.
A227, which was right in line for the Mepham acid house party. At most of the night, on Saturday night, it was impossible for anybody to get in or get out of that area for several miles either way. I would like to finish.
Hang on, Sandy.
That we do have to abide by laws, and the people driving to that acid house party were driving two abreast down the road. There was absolute 100% congestion.
Not Gregory.
You're arguing with us about it. You should be arguing with the police and the government. They won't legalise our parties. Hold on. We have to drive around for 3 hours every weekend to find out where we're going. We have to phone up 4 or 5 different phone numbers to find out where we're going.
Let's get Ken.
Okay?
Yes, Gregory, can we...
Just a minute. Hang on, Colin, you can't all...
You say these
Gregory, just a minute. Listen, you lot are as bad up here as well. You can't all speak at once. Gregory's talked about the police. Ken, you're a police.
Gregory, let's get this into some perspective. Firstly, the police do not licence parties. I think you know that by now. Perhaps it wasn't apparent 4 or 5 weeks ago, but the way that these things have been publicised in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we all know that we don't actually licence them. Nonetheless, for that, we are there to police them because of this. There are too few safety standards. And I don't know how you can comprehend that we have a High Court judge sitting for 6 months of his life to actually set standards and guidelines in football arenas and other places of public entertainment where he fears a disaster, and we've seen disasters, and yet you have more people, just let me finish, you have more people, and I'm not saying the people are not nice. In fact, I endorse everything that's been said. They are very nice young people, and I've said this openly. But you have more people attend, and the safety standards are such that a disaster will occur. Now, the same people that criticise us for doing too much will, in the end of the day, criticise us for being too little. Okay. It's as simple as that.
What was the security standards at Hillsborough?
The security standards at Hillsborough have been actually improved, and that is what's come out of the inquiry.
I'm not talking about what's been done. What was it then?
Wasn't good then.
Great, hang on.
But hold on. Happen again.
Can you let him answer, please? Can you let him answer, please?
Whatever the security standards were at previous events, one can only say that the security standards at your events don't come anywhere near those that are in stadiums now or then.
Exactly. I want to get you come back. I want a Conservative Member of Parliament. Should we be legalising these parties and then imposing, Michael, do you think, would it make sense? They're happening. Kids are organising them, shows a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, enterprise, they're doing things, they're creating their own enjoyment. Shouldn't we therefore say, fine, but let's try to impose some kind of standard, whether it's about noise, whether it's about fire, safety, all the rest of it? Why don't we do that like we do with a Wembley concert or a Reading pop festival or a football match?
Well, my own local council, Hillingdon, has just, in fact, granted an entertainment licence for a party. The
councillors have attached 13 conditions, all of which I think are entirely reasonable. They cover things like, for example, holding a party in a warehouse, there's got to be proper fire precautions, there's got to be access for the police, the fire service and all the rest, and they will monitor the noise levels. If those conditions are met, and if the people of Uxbridge aren't kept up all night by a party of this kind, it may be that it will break new ground. But the real problem that's been experienced by my constituents and lots of others as well is very high levels of noise, very large numbers of people coming along to a location at short notice. That's very difficult to deal with, both from the police point of view and from the public point of view. And so we do need to look at the law, and we're going to do that as soon as Parliament goes back.
Jeremy?
What time does this party go on till? It
goes on until 6 a.m.
It's allowed to go on till 6.
So it starts at 10, goes on till 6.
Yeah, but the thing is, when, you know, I found one venue, which was a valley in Surrey, which was, you know, the noise could not escape. However you did it, the noise could not escape from that valley. You had valleys and you had trees and you had a road, a big road that would mean everyone could get in there easily. And the Surrey police, they came in with the helicopters, they blocked all the roads, and we were running around the countryside trying to find somewhere else. We landed up in Suffolk, putting it on there, and then we were causing noise to neighbours, which we didn't want to do, but we had to. Because the party had to happen.
No doubt. Hang on, Michael. Michael, come on the police on this.
Yeah, can I just say that there has always been a way for these parties to become legal in the same way as any other public entertainment.
No way.
No,
wait
a moment. The law regarding public entertainments in this country is that if you're going to have an entertainment of large size and you're going to invite members of the public, then you get a licence from the local authority. Now, you know that, and we know that. Now, the thing is that organisers of these parties have not been obtaining licences from the local authority. Quite deliberately, they haven't been obtaining licences from the local authority.
Let me explain
and
this.
The parties are organised in such a way that nobody knows until the last minute.
Tony?
Now, everybody knows
this is a
that, surely.
publicity stunt, this thing at Uxbridge. I'm sorry to say, but this has never been possible before. There's public concern now. It's nice to have a little instance here where it has been able to be done. In every attempt, every approach we've ever made to any local authority, blanked immediately. If you say, I want to put an event on here, immediately, especially with all what the gutter press have made this scene look like, immediately... We don't want this in our county. Every county, we don't want this in our county. It can't be done.
Approach local authorities?
Yeah, on many occasions, and immediately...
I mean, do you routinely approach local authorities? I suggest you don't, because you think they're going to serve an injunction on you. I suggest that we would like to do things in a proper way. This is... I launched the Freedom to Party campaign at the Tory Party conference yesterday to say that Douglas Hurd can't just say he wants to ban all these things and just... because that'll push it more underground. And you can't kill something which is this strong and this big. There needs to be a proper licensing channel that we can go through. Can you comply with safety standards?
Absolutely, we always have done. I've had 30 events. I've never had a single... Hold on one second. I've had 30 events. We organised some of the very first events. We've put on the biggest events. We've never had a single fight. We've never had a single public order problem. We've never had a safety problem. There's never been a safety problem. I take more care in safety than anyone else. We have double the amount of fire extinguishers. We have our own fire officer.
Put a formal application in. Let's try it out. Put a formal application in for your next party.
There isn't a proper channel to go through now.
That's a fair offer. Hang on, that's a fair offer. Put a month's note, put a formal application in. Just a minute, Jeremy. You can't say it takes a long time.
No.
A lot of things take a long time. We can't all cut corners because things take a long time.
Then
hang on.
Then what happens? They delay it and they make it harder for you to apply
there's
for it.
a lot of prejudice against it.
I don't think they do delay it, because in the Hillingdon case that I've just mentioned, council received an application. They heard it in a very short space of time, and they have granted the licence. So it's not a stunt. It's just a normal application to a local authority. Now, in granting a licence, they've got to be satisfied that all the safety conditions are complied with, that there are places for people to park, and so on. If that goes well, maybe people will take a different attitude.
Would you rather have these parties kind of legalised? Is that what you would? You'd rather have them so they're properly regulated. I can't get out of the way of the camera. Regulated.
I want to approach a slightly different aspect, which we haven't.
Barbara, darling, let me let him finish.
Which we haven't looked at yet.
Just a minute, Jeremy.
I'm from the National Council for Civil Liberties, not a party organiser, and what we're very concerned about is the approach of the police, because I've listened to Ken, and he's putting it very much on the level of safety and noise, etc. Whereas in actual fact, some of the things that are being used, such as roadblocks, such as confiscation,
You've been to one of these parties?
Such as entering en masse, we have inquiries, hundreds of inquiries every week. I haven't. We have hundreds of inquiries. We've been advising the organisers.
Hang on, why haven't you been to a party? How can you organise or advise me if you haven't been to them? Why haven't you been to one?
In the same way that we advise burglars without being burglars.
Those who've been to the parties, would you be happy for them to be there? Or is that? I wonder. Move up a bit. I wonder, you see, whether in fact half of the kind of feeling about these parties is the fact that they are outside of the law. There's a bit of a thrill.
Not at all. No, nothing to do with it.
You think there is?
I think so. If you legalise acid parties, something else will become illegal, and they will enjoy it.
Hang on, my love.
All people want to do is to go out to a field, to a venue, and enjoy themselves for 12 hours. It's better if the police organise it. With the police, with the police,
Fine, we'll tell people in advance. At least we can make alternative arrangements.
We've been driving around King's Cross, we've been driving around 2 hours a night trying to find a venue.
You come along
you
and
want
take
to
over
have
our
a good
local
time,
area.
and if the police organise it, then you're not getting little dodgy little places in London.
And how do you if it's illegal,
no, maybe not. We just want to have
a good time. Hey, she listened to you in quiet. Come on, all of you. You can't all jump down my friend's throat, because I'm not going to let you. Come on, love. You say what you want to say.
Something is more attractive if it's illegal. If it's legal, it doesn't matter.
Why do you think the
doesn't matter?
Lulu,
it's
hang
not
on, Lulu.
exciting, Lulu. It's not as exciting as it would be if it's illegal.
Lulu?
Then you tell me, if that's the case, you tell me why people are queuing outside clubs every night of the week to listen to this music and to dance. Clubs are legal, and they are doing better business than they've ever done. Sorry?
I can't get you all once.
Sweetheart. The legal ones in the West End.
They're not queuing as much.
There's number one.
Right, quietly. I can't get you all, you know. I wish I could.
Okay, right.
One at a time.
Let's scrap acid house parties, right? Let's scrap the acid house, right? Let's go. Hold on. Let's go on to warehouse party or progressive dance music. That's what we're talking about, right? Now, hold on, right? Now, you've turned around and said if it is illegal, that brings a greater attraction. Right? I'm throwing the biggest birthday party in the world, right? For 40,000 people. It's called Out to Prove a Point.
When?
Now,
when? Hang on. When is this party?
Next Saturday.
Where are we all invited?
Right. Now, this party, right, is designed, right, to prove a point. Now, the point it's going to prove that it's not acid music. That went out the window like 18 months ago. Hold on. No, but like the music that we are all into now, let's call it progressive dance. Now, I've incorporated 3 of the world's biggest hip-hop bands, right? That doesn't constitute an acid house rave, does it?
Hey, Gregory, Colin, hang on. But you're supposed to be listening to this conversation here.
So you say.
Listen, because I know that there's more than 200,000 people. Listen, yeah, of course I want 40,000. Do you know why? Because it proves a point to people like you and the whole world that there is a serious need, right? And, listen, hold on, and I know, listen, before...
That one at a time.
Listen,
I can't get you all, can I?
I'm not against them. I've got a 19-year-old son who would probably go to one, probably enjoy himself.
I know he would.
I've spoke to 5 people in the week who's been to them and thoroughly enjoyed them. There's nothing to say.
What I'm saying to you...
What I want to know, what I'd like to know from you is what is so... I mean, we've heard all this thing about these parties being special and all the rest of it. And we had a lot of emotion there, as you can see. People obviously feel very strongly about all the noise and the disruption and the what have you. What is the special? I want to go back. Is there anything good in these parties?
It's amazing.
Quietly. Hang on. One at a time, please.
We don't want to listen to stuff. It creates a lot of racial harmony.
Yeah,
it does.
exactly.
It creates a lot of racial harmony. These people are afraid of what they don't know.
Yeah,
that's
you
exactly
can't describe
Hang on. Okay, the racial harmony.
We don't have any option.
Let's just hang on. Why does it create racial harmony?
Because everybody comes under one house.
Oh my God! Did you see? No, listen, we got to see this. Do it again so our viewers can see racial harmony. That's what it's all about. The 2 people who've been shouting and screaming at each other for the last. How does it create racial harmony? That's an important point.
Well, anyway, I mean, acid house to begin with, house and acid house music stems from black people's music. But then again, everybody's into dance music these days. And it brings everybody together.
It doesn't matter if you are black,
white, Jew or Gentile. You can go to one of these parties and you can enjoy yourself. You can wear what you like. No one's going to turn around and say, oh my God, look at her, she's so scruffy. People don't care.
Ordinary ways of life.
You'll find that there's more trouble in these
football grounds.
And
football grounds.
Colin, that's the square.
We have the opportunity to make our own separate arrangements. If we don't do that, we've got no choice.
I think, you know, some of the older people in this audience are more disruptive than some of the younger people. Who are supposed to be setting a good example here about noise and disruption. Colin, get Barbara. Colin, if the point that my friend made up the back there about, and they all seem to make it. It was made at the very beginning by Lulu and Gregory, I think, as well as by Sean. This thing about all classes, across cultures, across the kind of money ranges, geographical. This racial thing, if it actually does break down racial barriers, isn't that a good thing?
Let me be brutally honest. I have no specific objection to a party, providing I know it's going to happen. Now, if I've got an opportunity to make alternative arrangements...
Hang on, let us finish, my lord.
We can't all do that.
Hold it. If I have the opportunity to make alternative arrangements, then I'm happy to do so, because I've been to parties and I've been to pop concerts and I've enjoyed myself. And I've enjoyed myself from 10 o'clock at night till 10 o'clock in the morning, same as you are. However, can I just finish?
Can they actually let them go on if you don't give them the licence in the beginning? All different classes of people go to these parties. People are putting it down to all different kind of subjects. The only thing it comes down to, I'm an estate agent, I've got a mortgage, I'm one of the most... I'm living in a nice area, and I go to these parties.
What are you going to say? Most respectable?
I go to one of these parties. I enjoy myself. I go dancing till all hours in the morning, and I have got a good job and everything else.
Hang on, right, let her. Colin.
Give her. Why don't you just give them a licence? Let them get on with it. The police are making things worse as well by going in there with roadblocks, things like that, making your life a misery as well as ours.
Colin.
Right. The point I'm coming to is that I've got no objection to these parties in real terms. If I know it's coming, then I can make alternative arrangements. And I'm quite sure a lot of people would make those alternative arrangements.
We're going to stay in a hotel.
I didn't have the opportunity to do that.
How can we make alternative arrangements? How can we make alternative arrangements? How can we, if the police are then going to know about it? Come in and cause roadblocks.
Go on.
The problem comes from unlicensed parties, not from licensed parties. And I have demonstrated tonight that one local authority has licensed parties. Well, time's changed.
Are we going to...
You cannot expect the public to put up with
We're not going back over licensing. What about, we talked about the rate, I want to know the positive things first, about what's supposed to, you all go on about the ideology of these parties. OK, it helps you to cause racial harmony. Anything else? Anything else? The good parts of these parties. Yeah, go on, what are you going to say, love? What are you going to say? Hold on.
It brings a lot of people together. I mean, this sort of thing happens every generation. You had the hippies, you had the mods and everything. It happens every 10, 20 years. It brings people together. And I think that is the best thing about it. It makes everyone happy. We have a good time.
I'm going to let you speak. If you speak quietly, no shouting.
But it stops.
As if you're in church.
OK, when you go to clubs, OK, you get these nasty men coming up, picking you up. At this, it's nothing like that. Everyone just wants to dance, have a good time. No one cares about what you look like. It's because... it's the music. The music wants you to dance. It doesn't mean anything else. It doesn't matter what you wear. You go looking like a tramp. You go because you're in a field. You go with boots on. We go with duvets in the car, hot chocolate. We go there to have a good time. We don't care about anything
So you're
else.
actually saying that you feel safer as a woman at a party?
Yeah, you feel safer. You don't feel worried about a man coming up to you. That doesn't happen. You go there to enjoy yourself. What it is, it's much safer. When you're a girl out in the club, in a London club, it's not nice. Men there.
Do other girls feel after your acid party's been passed either? Hang on, I want that.
When you go to the clubs and everything, you get men coming up trying to pick you up, coming over, and then they come over to you, and you bump into someone, and the people turn around to you and ask you who you've bumped into and try and sort of like cause an argument. When you go in there, you bump into somebody and you don't get that. They say hello to you. They say, yeah, fine. What's your name? Where do you come? Give you water, drinks, and they're all nice.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because everybody's together. Everybody's there for the same
Hang on,
reason.
hang on. No, hang on. All right, let me just say, please, Barbara. I'm getting signs of disbelief here from everybody over there. Ken, you were nodding, you were shaking your head. You don't believe it. You said, Ken. Ken.
Yes. I just wonder if I can just ask one question. Why do the parties have to start at 3 o'clock in the morning? Why can't...
Tony. Just a minute, you're not named Tony, you're called Sue.
The parties don't have to start at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll start at 10 o'clock at night. Let me just make this one point. I think the thing is, a lot of guys go to nightclubs to get drunk, to pick up girls or whatever. People come to these parties, they come to dance and they come for a different reason. They're not coming there to meet people and chat people up. They go there to dance all night, where they can't dance in nightclubs all night. And to listen to this...
Why are you asking?
She's interested in the drug
Hang on.
Yeah.
What are you...
I've got 3 teenage
She can speak
daughters.
for herself.
I've got 3 teenage daughters and I've got a very hard job, and I really.
What are you worried about, love?
I'm worried about drugs, see.
You worry
That's what
that
I'm worried about.
they're-
They're all night, 6 o'clock. Take me about 3 days to get over it.
Tell me a party.
How can I have a responsible
Don't let them come to the party. We don't want them at our party.
You're interrupting each other. You're interrupting yourself. All right?
Will you let me talk? You tell me a party you can go to where you won't find drugs.
I've been to many parties.
Which?
I've been to the parties. I've been to many underground parties.
Look in the toilet.
I've danced with the crates. I've done everything.
You
right?
danced with the crates and
Yeah,
there was no
I've
drugs
been to the
about?
Regency.
You danced with the crates and there was no drugs
I've done
about?
all that. There's been drugs and I've been able to get up in the morning.
There
But
is
nowadays
drugs.
they go
Hang
to
on.
drug
Oh,
parties,
massively
right?
exaggerated.
They
There
go
was
to these
drugs
parties
there.
that's on now where the kids can't even
There
get
were
up and
drugs
keep a
there.
job.
There were drugs
I've got
there.
3 teenage daughters.
There is drugs.
There were
Whether you,
drugs.
Those sort of
whether
people
you
find
go...
drugs anywhere.
Hang on. Let me get Gregory's...
What's going on
Her
now
argument is the
what's
drug
going on now?
aspect.
I'm not against acid parties or
No,
anything.
your
And a
argument is
crowd
the
of people
drug
getting
aspect.
together,
If
all
you
right,
go
have a
to
good
an
time,
acid
right?
dance...
But you know what's behind it all. Come on then.
If you
behind it all? What's behind it all?
What is behind it all?
You can't all shout. Good grief.
Go to these parties,
Does
and
your
it
girl
takes them
take
3
drugs?
days.
Does your girl take drugs?
Well, I've got my... I don't know. I
Does
don't
it- does
know.
a
But
girl
they
take
You
do.
were
drugs?
just going to say I've got my suspicions.
Well, yes, definitely. I'm not sure.
You're not
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you. Put your hands down. Put your hands down, because you might put your hand up for the wrong answer. How many of you have taken drugs at acid parties? How many? Come on, honestly, the truth. How many have taken drugs? Hands up. Is it a real problem there that you're actually got drugs? Is it a problem?
No, there's not people. Everyone doesn't take drugs, but people. Yeah.
I decide.
No one needs drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
No one needs.
Let me just tell you, you're all very silly. All you're doing is shouting over each other. That's all you do. So you can't hear the point you want made.
If people don't take drugs at these acid parties, then there's people taking drugs in pubs, clubs, everywhere. So it's not just the acid parties that take it.
There's no more drugs than
Is it a particular problem? I mean, we tend to have the acid house is associated with drugs. Gregory, we can't run a programme with everybody talking at once. If we're going to talk, love, and you as well, if we're going to talk reasonably and seriously and in a civilised fashion, then only one person can talk at a time. This allegation that there's drugs, Ken.
I think the acid house tag is nothing to do with drugs, as you will be told.
Brilliant.
It's to do with the music. There's the first thing.
Right.
But we believed the organisers when we were told for about 2 months that there were no drugs at these venues. And we were quite prepared to sit back and accept that they were being run with noisy music, with congestion in byways which were preventing emergency services coming through. And the drugs aspect we had to find for ourselves. Now then, clearly we have swept fields now after these events, and the drugs we've got back have been right through the spectrum from LSD, ecstasy, cannabis, etc., etc. Now that in itself, I'm not being critical about. What I'm saying, we've actually proved that drugs are evident at these venues.
And everywhere.
That's me, Sandy.
I'd like to say something. I would like to say something. A lot of pushers are being attracted to these parties. There's no doubt about it. Through pure sensationalisms from the gutter press, they are given headlines like, oh, 10, 15,000 kids high on ecstasy. Well, if there's people going to sell it, where are they going to go to sell it? Where they think there's a market, a big market.
If I can reply to that, in Kent, you would not have found we've done one arrest for drugs to the individual partygoer. I assure you of that.
One person.
The one single person. But if we find the people that are peddling drugs, then clearly there will be arrests. And that's as simple as that.
Sean, to Ken.
A few pertinent points there. I hate to be a party pooper, but when we talked of some of the basic ingredients of what made acid house good originally, it was ecstasy. Ecstasy was, well, hang on, ecstasy was very big in Ibiza. And before any press attention, ecstasy was very important, and it came hand in hand with the original music and the dancing.
What, you're saying that was a kind of integral part of the
It was
party
definitely an integral part.
Is it
the original,
still? Is it still?
Well, I think there's a few things to look at now. As far as how the press, and talking about sensationalism, The Sun in '88 took 2 and 2 and made 5. They got the acid house tag and presumed that acid was being sold at clubs. Up until that point, acid wasn't being sold, and literally 3 months within The Sun writing these exposés, acid and LSD was being sold.
What kind of drugs are, even if they're in small quantities, what kind of drugs are we talking about that you can find at these kind of parties?
Well,
ecstasy, what else?
What frightens me is at these parties, and I don't care what these people say about going about sensationalism, everyone in these fields, regardless of sensationalism, the people there who want to take drugs are taking drugs. The frightening thing is, and this is where legislation is needed, to, which I'm sure the organisers would welcome, to help organise this, because there's cowboys selling adulterated drugs, and ecstasy is no longer MDMA, it's got strychnine in, there's rumours, which are more than rumours, of having smack heroin in.
Is that a problem?
Ecstasy is a problem, and running a place which invites drug use is a problem too. And I think there is considerable responsibility in the young entrepreneurs who run it, considerable responsibility in those who go there, to see that such an organisation doesn't get a disastrously bad name, because once more, even as they're busy pretending it doesn't really disturb the neighbours, or the neighbours are making an undue fuss, or it's all the fault of the police, they shouldn't bust in, or it's terrible the councils won't support them, blame on other people, you know, the worst aspect of adolescent immaturity, blame other people, take no responsibility yourself, and then shout if anyone says it. There must be a serious awareness that many people are very worried about drug use in these places. If the people who run it will not take action and police it themselves, someone else will move in. Now, it's not funny. It's unfortunate this stupid stuff is called ecstasy. It is a drug which can profoundly damage people and kill them.
Go on, you're talking to Griff.
At these parties, would you say that, like, 70% are on drugs, 80%?
I don't care whether it's 70 or 80%.
I would say that, like, minimal...
What Griff is talking about is ecstasy itself isn't a harmless or...
Ecstasy itself is not an acid drop, a peppermint, a polo. Ecstasy is a drug designed by amphetamine, which has all the dangers of speed, but with its nucleus added so it can also be like lysergic acid. It is a profoundly dangerous drug.
I've got 3 sons, and 2 of them I know go to acid house parties. The thing that would worry me more is alcohol. And, you know, I mean, if you look at any newspaper, I mean, I've been living in a small town. There's not a small town in the country that doesn't have an alcohol problem with the youth. I mean...
Which is worse? Which is worse?
I note the cheers when anything is said which may deflect attention from the fantasy belief that these parties are seventh heaven's fun, but do not cloud the issue by saying alcohol is serious. Alcohol is a serious problem, but it is not in the same class as drugs like LSD, which you may take it once and do yourself profound damage.
Ken, what's going to happen in the future, very quickly? Are these parties going to continue, or are they going to be regulated very quickly?
I can say this, that if the organisers would only go and get them legalised and regularised, then I would be very happy, and so would our organisation. That is the
I
first
suppose,
step.
so would we all. See you in the morning.
Thank
you. Oh, you're annoying. We're planning a programme on sex therapy. Would you see a therapist if you had problems with your sex life? Or perhaps you'd be too embarrassed. Maybe you've already had sex therapy. Did it help you and your partner? The number to ring is 0898 333 599.